Hey everybody, I just want to come back and say hi, and I really enjoyed making that video and talking to you guys tonight. So I thought it would be kind of cool to come and talk to you about another subject tonight. Uh, Being a Christian, um, and coming from a background, of immoral behavior is it's a tough one. I mean, basically, you're drastically changing a lot of things in your life really quick. And one of the things I'm going to talk to you about tonight is temptation, especially when it comes to women. Honestly, for years and years, uh, I was one of those guys in my sin-filled days who would lust over every pretty girl I saw. Didn't even know the woman. Didn't matter if she had the body and she had the behind and she had the pretty hair and the good looking clothes on. It was an instant um, lust thing for me. I instantly felt like in my head, like, oh my God, it would be the most amazing thing in the world to get with this woman. It would be the greatest day of my life to get with this woman in the bedroom. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest challenges these last 4 months in my journey has been controlling the temptation when it comes to beautiful women and viewing these women as people instead of just glorified sex objects. And it's not easy, and still to this day, a pretty girl walks by you, and it's normal for a guy to have that thought go in his head. The best thing to do is when you start getting tempted and you start getting those impure thoughts in your head, the best thing to do instead of engaging on it, the best thing to do is stop and ask for forgiveness and ask for the strength to view this woman as a person as opposed to a sex object. And I know that sounds a little crazy. They're like, well, Jim, you're single. You could smash it. It's not really, it's not about smashing it. It's about having the class and respect to respect them as people instead of someone that you smash. And that's one of the struggles of being a Christian. I mean, there's other topics too, like for instance, anger management is a tough one. Being able to be cool under stressful situations. But one of the biggest ones is the lust. Um, like for instance, I could tell you a story. Like 2 or 3 years ago, I was in a Las Vegas casino, and there's a little red gal or a little gal playing one of the slot machines, and you know, um, she had the little dress on and the hair and the big fake breasts, and I mean, she was beautiful. And she says, "Hey, let's go to our room." I didn't even think about it. You know, 10, 12 minutes later, I was out 170 bucks, filled with shame. From hanging out with her. I thought she just wanted to come in the room and hang out until she started asking me for money. I had no idea that was I'm just saying that stuff like that, it's a temptation. See a pretty girl walking on the side of the street, and she's waving to you. And the temptation is like, hey, I want to stop and pick her up and fornicate myself with her, and it's all a big sin. My recommendation would be to view these women as people, respect them, you know, be their friend, realize that there's more to them than just a pretty body and a pretty face. I mean, respect the mind of them. And when you start getting tempted like that, no matter how pretty they are, control it, stop, ask for the strength from God to get through that situation. No matter, even if you're, and excuse my language, even if you're as hard as a rock in your pants, the best thing to do is walk away. I'm not saying it's, well, I'm going to get with every girl I can. I mean, I understand that because I was that guy. But the best thing to do is honestly respect these women as people. Control the temptation. Temptation will get you nothing but shame and guilt. I mean, for years I was on these dating websites, and it was just swipe, 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 swipe. I didn't care if the girl had any values. I didn't care if the girl had any faith. All I cared about is if she was giving it up that night. And that was how I lived. Now, I'm looking at things so much deeper. I want the total package. I want her to have faith, value. I want her to have the total package. But I didn't always think like that. And still to this day, I still get tempted like, hey, I'm gonna go to a casino tonight and I'm gonna get me some. The temptation is still very real. Like, oh, I could probably go out and get some tonight. It's not about getting some. It's more about having respect for yourself to be able to respect them. And believe me, this is an uplifting experience when you can start having Christian values and start respecting them past, the body. You start looking at it a little bit deeper, like, is this a nice person? Should I be associating myself with this person? And the lust is a hard one, but you can control it. You absolutely can control it if you give your time and you give your faith to the Lord and stop viewing these women as pieces of meat. And, we're all guilty of it. We all oogle and Google over the girls. But the best thing to do with them, control it. Control it. Treat them like people, and they'll respect you so much more if you just treat them like people, because they are people. Women are flesh and blood too, just like men. They're and they deserve the respect. And a lot of times the girls, they know that the guy can't control themselves, and they want something from the guy, so they purposely flaunt it. The best thing to do, control it, ask for strength in God. You can overcome the temptation and lust of women. It's not an easy one, but it can be done. I promise you, if you put your faith in the Lord. And we'll talk about some other stuff tomorrow or the next couple of days. We'll talk about anger management techniques and stuff. And we'll talk about how, as a Christian man, it's okay to walk away from a beautiful woman if she's not a nice person. It's okay to not partake in those activities, no matter how pretty she is, no matter what she says. It's okay to keep your faith and love God first over loving the pretty girl, where you're going to wake up with shame and guilt the next morning. And I'd rather wake up guilt-free and shame-free the next day than wake up with some girl that I didn't love, that I fornicated with the night before.